Today we're going to answer some of the frequently asked questions that I get about my book, The Art of Starting Over. Now, I think because there's a woman on the cover, the first question I get the most often is the book just for women? No, the book isn't just for women. So the book is about creating more power, peace, and pleasure in your life. Are women the only ones who want power, peace, or pleasure? No, men do too. So, men, you can absolutely read the book. And it's mainly for someone, anybody can read it. You don't necessarily have to be looking to make a change in your life or start over. But if you are, it's a really good book for that. So that brings me to the second question I get, which is, what's the book about? So the book is for someone who is trying to figure out where they are, where they want to be, and want to bridge the gap between those two. The book is a roadmap to creating that bridge. So if you are dissatisfied with your life, if you are forced to make a change. Some people are forced to start over. They didn't really want to, but they lost a job. And so they have to go from where they are to where they want to be. Sometimes it's divorce. Sometimes your children are going off to college and now your life is going to be different. You're no longer Amanda's mom or Brad's mom. Now you are who? You don't know. You've got to figure it out. So the book is good for that. Brings me to the next question, which is, what made me write the book? Lots of people ask me what made me write the book. And there's a couple things. Two things. Number one was I was going through my own life change. I was forced to make a decision as to what I was going to do next because so many things were happening. I owned a company and I owned a company and I was working as a financial advisor. Now, as you all know, in 2007, the real estate market crashed and the company that I owned was a mortgage company. So, of course, there were some changes going on in my life. And in 2007, I also got my Series 7 license to be able to give trade stocks, and then my Series 66 to be able to give financial advice. And in 2008, the stock market crashed. So again, now it didn't hit me in 2008. It took about a year and a half for it to actually affect me. And so at the end of 2009, the beginning of 2010, I had to make some changes. So I decided that I was about to move. I was moving my life. I was I was still going to be a financial advisor, but I was going to do it in a different place and for a different company. And so I made that decision. And in that transfer, and in the middle of that, I had some downtime, and I took that downtime to write the book, The Art of Starting Over. Now, people always say, when are you going to write your book? When are you going to write your book? So it was just a matter of time, and I had to find the right time, and this was the right time. And the reason why I chose this subject was because while I was working as a barber, I worked as a barber for 13 years. That's how I paid my way through college. Right after college, I ended up going to barber school, but I was an assistant in salons. And so I worked in that industry for a very long time. And when you work in that industry, you get a chance to hear people's stories. And so people would come to the salon and the barbershop every week with the same complaints. They hate their life. They hate their wife. They hate their job. It was so much stuff that they complained about, but nothing was getting done. So I would start giving them tasks. Okay, before you come back here next week, I want you to do this. And then they would do it and they'd come back and they'd be happy. Oh my God, thanks for telling me to do that. That really changed my life. And then people started paying me for that advice. So they would get up from my chair, they'd give me the money for their haircut, but then they'd write me another check for the counseling, which was really cool. And I didn't even ask for it, but I took it. So that let me know that this was needed and it was real. It was really working. So, and then people would ask me, how did you do it? How did you move without knowing anybody? How did you change careers? How did you create a whole new company? I get those questions all the time, and the answer was I just did it. I didn't know there was anything to be afraid of. I guess I was too silly to know that I should have been scared, but I just did it. Nothing stopped me. It was nothing stopping me. And so I put down the steps. How did I do it? Because people would ask me, how did I do it? So I said, let me put those steps down and let people know how you do it. So, last question. Well, I won't say the last question. This will be part one, and then I'll answer some other questions later. So, another question I get is, how did you publish the book? That I was looking for an agent for a while. I looked and looked, and then I decided to do self-publishing. So I published a book, self-published the book, and I pay for it. And it was a great accomplishment. I'm glad I did it. Would I do traditional publishing? Absolutely. I would try that too. But this book needed to get out, and it needed to get out when in a timely fashion. And I didn't want it to somebody else to hold it up, looking for an agent or a publisher. I didn't want that to hold up this book getting out. And so I decided to do self-publishing. So that is the first part of the frequently asked questions, and I'll answer some more in just a second.